see the compression we can get using discrete cosine transform, and curvelet is there, some contourlet transforms are there, lot of transforms are there, but in our syllabus we have only some 3 to 4, so that's what we have discussed. And another transform we are going to discuss is Hawk transform. So this is used for detection of lines and curves. Okay, some circles or some curves, if we want to detect, then we can use it. So it was introduced in 1962 by Hawk, and then he has used it first to find the lines in 1972. So what we will do is that we will find the location of the lines. Okay, so we need to know the parametric equation. If this is known, okay, if it is for line, so there will be different parametric equation. If it is circles and based on the structures, for each one there will be different parametric equation. If that is not, then we can detect it. And it also gives robust detection under noise. And if there is any partial occlusion, then that also it will be working better. So if this is an image, okay, with the linear structures, so here you can see whatever the borders that we are seeing here, these are nothing but the straight lines. Okay, these lines will separate the regions with different gray levels. Okay, here you can see, so the levels of gray, the gray values will be different compared to this part. And here again there is some weight. So this we can consider it as a straight line. So before we are going for Hawk transform, before we are applying that, we need to perform the edge detection as the pre-processing to that. So when we perform edge detection, we can see all the edges wherever there is a change in the gray levels. So that and all we can get as a edges. So what are the edges that are available? So we have step edge. Okay, step edge will be looking like this. Okay, so that is immediately. So we have values of 1, 1, 1. Okay, immediately it becomes up to 50, 256. So we don't have 250. 255, something like that. So there is immediate change. So it is some 1, 1, 1, 1. So immediately it becomes some 255, 250, 250. So then coming to the ramp edge, so we have some 1, 1, 1. Then slowly it is increasing. Some 200. We got like some 5, some 10, some 15, something like that. And then it became some 20, 25. 25, 25, and then it became constant. So it means that it is constant, and then slowly it is increasing, and then again it became constant. So this is called as ramp edge. Roof edge also like this. So instantly it will be constant, and then it is increasing, then decreasing, and then it will come again it will be decreased. The edges. So if you see the edge, this is one of the edge operator. Whether it's audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Whether it's audible now? So, whatever the input that we are passing, it should be the thresholded edge image. So that is, we will perform the edge detection first. Now, after performing edge detection, we will have edge image, and then we will perform some thresholding for that edge image. So that is nothing but our thresholded edge image. Okay, and the magnitude results, whatever we will get, okay, it will be computed by the Sobel operator. Okay, and that can be thresholded and used as input. So this is the Sobel operator. Here you can see there is some -1, -2, -1, and this is some zeros, and then 1 to 1. So this when we want to apply in horizontal direction. Okay, so this will detect the edges. And similarly, when we want to detect the vertical edges, then we can apply this mask. Okay, this is nothing but our Sovel operator. Similarly, we have robot, Revit, okay, different edge different operators we have. So this is the mask for Sovel operator. By using this, we can detect the edges and we can perform thresholding, and then that we can pass it for the arc transform. Okay, for edge detection, what we will do is that we need threshold edge image, and what the Sobel filter it will produce is nothing but the some approximation of image gradient. So what is image gradient? Image gradient is some vector quantity. So how we will compute it? We can compute it by using the derivation. Okay, dou f by dou x, that is whatever the values that we have to find the derivative in x direction, and then we have to find the derivative in y direction. Okay, now we have the vectors, that is gx and gy, and then we can find the length of the vector by using gx square plus gy square, that is dou f by dou x whole square plus dou f by dou y whole square. So this is the magnitude, and we can also get the angle. So that angle we can get it by using tan inverse of gy, that is dou f by dou y, and this is dou f by dou x. So if that vector is available for us, okay, so that is gx and gy, this vector is available. So then we can perform calculate the magnitude, and then we can perform calculate the angle also. Okay, if we want to perform the compute the horizontal edges, then we have to use the edge operator along the horizontal direction. So we have operator along x direction and operator via y direction. So the respective corresponding masks we will be using, and we can find the horizontal edges and vertical edges. So the edge direction. So we can compute the magnitude of the edge. So that is nothing but our g. Okay, okay, that's what that is del f. So that we can compute by using square root of gx square plus gy square. So what is the length? Whether this is the length or this is the length for that particular edge, that we can identify. But how to compute the direction? For that direction only we can take tan inverse of gy by gx. So input to hog, that is threshold at edge image. Okay, so what we will do first, we will compute the edge magnitude from the input image, so that we know how to calculate. And as always with the edge detection, it needs to be simple. After performing the edge detection, perform the low pass filtering also. It's not moving.
Yes, ma'am. It's not moving. It's the same half transmission, the input. That's why it's fixed.
Now.
It's loading, ma'am.
Not loading.
Now we can see, ma'am.
What we have to do is that how to perform this thresholding, that and all, by you calculating the gradient that we can perform. After calculating the gradient, we can get the magnitude, right? And we have the magnitude performs as that within that particular magnitude only we can have the edges. After that, we will perform the thresholding also for that gradient magnitude image. Okay, for half transform, okay, we need to perform edge detection and thresholding of that magnitude image. So we have some n pixels which will partially describe the boundary of some objects. So we have, if we take a boundary object boundary, by using some pixel values, we can define that boundary. And we wish to find types of pixels which will make up the straight lines. But we don't want the pixels which defines the boundary, but we want the pixels which will give the straight lines. So how we will find that? If we take a point xi yi and a straight line, we can represent it as yi equal to axi plus b. Okay. So now there will be many lines through this particular point xi and yi, but the parameters has to be satisfied. Okay, for different a and b. Okay, for different a and b values, this equation may be satisfying. If I take some value yi xi as 1, 1 and 2. Okay, so yi is some 2, xi is some 1, and ab. Okay, so I can take different values of a and b such that this equation is satisfied. Okay, here you can see if I take the point 1 comma 1, so we have different set of lines which will satisfy that. But you can see the a and b values is different when it is 1 comma 1. Okay, so for -1 and 0, it is satisfying. When it is 1 and 0, it is satisfying. When it is 0.6, 0.4, it is satisfying. When it is 0.8, 0.2, also it is satisfying. When it is 0 and 1, also it is being satisfied. So for this same point, we have different set of lines, but only the a and b need to be varied, and this condition equation has to be satisfied. And the same equation we can rewrite as like this also: b equal to minus ax, that is xa plus y. Previously it was y equal to ax plus b. Now we can rewrite it like this. Now what we will do, we will consider x and y as parameters and a and b as the variables. Previously x and y as the variables, a and b was parameters. Now after rewriting this equation like this, now x and y will become parameters and a and b will become variables. So now this is a line in AB space which is parameterized by x and y. Now given some AB values, we need to find x, y such that this equation will be satisfied. Now what we have to understand here is the single point in xy space gives a line in AB space. Okay, and another point xy will give rise to another line in AB space. Previously this diagram, it was in xy space. Now after converting this equation like this, now it becomes AB space. Okay, so this is what, so this is our xy space and this is our AB space. Here one point in xy, it will give line in AB plane. So here this is the line that we have. Here I have some 2 points, that is some 0 comma 1 and 1 comma 2, and the straight line that is representing these 2 points is y equal to 1x plus b. Okay, now for this particular points, here I have some straight lines. For this 0 comma 1, okay, I have the straight line as b equal to 0a plus 1, and for 1 comma 2 I have the straight line b equal to 1a plus 2. So this is what you have to understand. Now if we take some 2 points x, y, z, k, which defines the line in xy plane, so still how much time it is left now?
Another 10 minutes.
5 minutes I will take, after that I will take attendance. So now if we take some 2 points which are defining line in an xy plane, okay, these 2 points will give rise to 2 different lines in AB space. In AB space, these lines will intersect in a point where we have A prime, which is the rise, and B prime, it is the intersect of the line defined by xy and zx, zk in xy space. So in AB space, whatever the lines that we are getting, they will be intersecting at A prime and B prime. So A prime will be the rise, B prime will be the intersect. And the fact is that all points on the line which is defined by this point x, y and zk in this xy space will parameterize the lines which are intersecting in A prime, B prime in AB space. Now you have to always map this XY space to AB space. So whatever the lines that we have in this XY space with respect to these 2 points, okay, they will be intersecting at this particular point A prime B prime in AB space. And points that lie on a line will form a cluster of crossings in AB space. So if we see the algorithm, okay, first we need to quantize the parameter space AB, okay, and we need to divide it into cells. And the quantized space, we call it as accumulator cells, okay. In the next phase, we have the, okay, so this is nothing but a accumulator cells. Here we have A min value, A max value, B min value, and B max value for both A and B, okay. So A min is the value, minimal value of A, and what we will do, count how many number of times a line intersects a given cell. Okay, for each point xy with the value 1 in the binary image, find the values of A and B. A has to be in this range, B has to be in this range, and they have to define the line corresponding to that point. And after that, increase the value of accumulators for this A prime and B prime, and then we will proceed to the next point. The same process will be repeating. And after that, the cells which are receiving the minimum number of votes, we will take it as the lines in X and Y space. Okay, and lines they can find as peaks in the accumulator space. So this is nothing but a accumulator cell. So we need to find the values within this range. So in practical life, we will not be using this equation y equal to ax plus b, okay, but we will be using this polar representation, that is x cos theta by sin theta equal to rho. Okay, so based on that only we will be discussing the Hawk transform. So that I will discuss in evening class. Okay. Now we have to understand how we can transform from one under space, okay, and point in xy space it will become like this. That you keep it in mind. The rest of the thing we will.